Welcome back to the Study Prep Guys Business, everyone. Today we're looking at Lecture 3, Economical Systems. So, economical systems, let's take a look at that in general. So, every economy is faced with a fundamental economical problem. In every country, whether rich or poor, there are limited resources and unlimited wants, i.e., the resources of a country are not enough to satisfy the wants of all of its citizens. Since the resources of a country is limited and wants unlimited, choices will have to be made. For example, the governments may have to decide whether to spend more money on schools, hospital, transportation, or on road work. The process of choice begins with the scale of preference. This is a list of all options in order of preference. For example, we have hospitals, we have transportation, we have school, and we have road work. So we can't obtain all of this due to the limitations of resources per se. So with the scale of choice, there comes the scale of opportunity cost in its substantive senses. The option to build hospitals being placed at the top of the scale of preference indicates that the choice is most preferred since it yields the greatest satisfaction from the resources to be spent. Transportation is the opportunity cost in this case scenario of this choice, as it is the second most preferred option that had to be given up to accommodate the building of hospitals. Opportunity cost is defined as the next best alternative foregone as a result of making a choice. Let's take a look at the different economical systems in an economy. So, an economical system refers to the way that a country uses its resources, organize production, and the distribution of goods and services to maximize the benefits to its society. Economic systems vary worldwide. So, for this lesson, we'll be focusing on the major types of economical system. We have subsistence, we have free market, we have planned, and we have a mixed economical system. So, governments choose particular economical programs that will effectively manage their economies, bring about economical growth, and improve the lifestyles of its citizens or increase the quality of life. So the these four questions are the basic economical questions in any society. The questions are: number one, what to produce; number two, how much to produce; three, what methods of production are to be used; and four, how will goods and services be distributed. Answers to question 1, 2, and 4 will depend on the economical system of each country. So we have the subsistent economical system. The subsistent economical system, as the name suggests, are economies in which just enough is produced by its citizens for their survival. Since there is no surplus, wealth is not created. Subsistence economies exist in many villages in Africa and South Africa among peoples who live in simple society. Let's look at the advantages of the subsistence economy. So, first of all, every member of the society knows their role. They know what they have to do in order to survive. And the social networking is strong. Let's look at some of the disadvantages now. The society is slow to changes and it does not take advantage of technological change. Since it is subsistent, it is not of really high quality in terms of the production process. Thirdly, little or no development of intellectual or scientific initiatives are taking place in that type of economy. Let's now take a look at the free market economical system, also called the enterprise or laissez-faire economical system. So, private individuals own a greater share of the property and capital resources that are used in the production process in this type of economy. So, there is little or basically no government intervention in the economical activities of the country. So the governments may provide essential services, example transportation and water. Therefore, the private sector provides a majority of goods and services within the economy. So the advantages of this is competition among businesses will result in increased quality of output and lower prices. And when in comparison to planned economy wherein the government has total control of all goods and services within the economy, the goods may not be of high quality due to less competition. Competition also leads to innovation, highly or newly products being created, services and production process increases also. Consumers are free to choose the goods and services that they wish to purchase, and therefore production is based on their demands. Freedom from government interference, and that is kind of like a good thing in most case scenarios. The invisible hand or price mechanism determines the price. Let's look at some of the disadvantage now. Consumer exploitation. There is unequal distribution of goods. Since no government intervention, public goods such as postal service, street lights, and roads are not provided. Large companies such as monopolies or cartels may exert influence on prices and limit competition, may lead to overuse of demerit goods or low quality goods, or like overuse of goods such as tobacco, alcohol, cigarettes, due to no intervention of government or government personnel in these economies will lead to overuse of demerit goods in some case scenarios. Wastage of resources and advertising and excessive competition. Over competition could also be a train of thought in this case. So let's look at the planned or controlled economical system. I said in a previous video, communist China is a form of planned economy. Property and capital resources are owned by the government on behalf of the society. The government makes all decisions concerning the use of the country's resources and the distribution of its output. Goods and services are provided through government owned and run operation. These include factories, telephone services, newspaper, television stations, etc. Um, Everything within the economy is run by the government. Let's look at some of the advantages. There is fair distribution of goods, that's one. Citizens in these economies enjoy at least a basic standard of living, as the government provides all goods and services. There is full employment of all available resources. Wasteful competition is avoided. But since there is no competition, the goods sometimes could be of not high quality. Resources are ineffectively allocated as consumers are not free to indicate their demand for goods or services. Therefore, resources are not sent to where they are most needed. The lack of competition reduces innovation and motivation to produce quality output. Too rigid system that is inflexible to change, such as shortages. Too much bureaucracy, procedures, and paperwork. No freedom of choice for producers or consumers. Let's look at the mixed economical system now. So, in a mixed economical system, there are both the private and public sectors. They are both involved in production of goods and services. The economical resources are owned by the government and private individuals. Economical decisions are made by the price system and the state. Meaning that within a mixed economical system, the government can set the price ceiling, which is the amount or the total amount of good or service. Private sectors to maximize profits, and public sector to maximize social welfare. And let's look at some of the advantages of the mixed economical system. So, consumer protection through the regulation of business by government, economical benefits of competition coupled with goods and services provided by government for those who cannot afford to access these through the market system. Let's look at some of the disadvantage now. So, government policies may reduce enthusiasm, leading to poison. For example, in the setting of prices for goods, and this could also lead to even losses and certain goods not being able to be produced within the economy. State demand for factory production may limit the amount of available to the private sector. Disparities exist in earnings and productivity between the states and the private sector. So, when these disparities could be conflicts between producers and government over certain regulations, that could lead to protesting within an economy in some cases. So, the decision makers in a mixed economy are the consumer, the firm, factor owner, and the government. Porous owns the factors of production. The firm producer to make profits to satisfy wants. Government provide regulations and guides overall economical activity. So they are mainly responsible for that. This is lecture 3, economical systems. Subscribe, and let's go down to lecture 4.